Based off of what I've seen other people say and from my experience, I feel like I can say that this is like the most overhated anime Vanguards update. And that's saying a lot because, like, we've had some bad updates, and I think that this kind of does like quantify like the difference between overhated and hated, because there are some updates that are genuinely bad and deserve to be hated, and this isn't one of them. And based on what I've seen, like I said, from you know, I'll be honest, this is what I've seen from YouTube videos. Like I don't really talk to community like a lot. It's like isn't like I'm interacting with the community a whole lot. So I've looked at our videos of people talking about the update, and like based on what like they feel they are saying, and based off what the comments like, they seem just not like this update, which I feel like is crazy because I think this is probably one of AB's better updates in a long time. Personally speaking, like this is the most fun I've had on AB updates on update 10.5, which is also the winter update. So it's a little ironic with how this game was, or this update was structured. And I say this because you take a look at the game mode, the Zombies game mode, which is heavily inspired by Call of Duty Zombies, as well as supposed to be an improved version of the old Zombies game mode from Winter. And I think it does that. I think the game mode is pretty fun. I had a fun time playing it, personally speaking. I didn't really have that many issues with it. There are, some issues. I do think the bugs and how unoptimized it was is, a valid, criticism, a valid complaint. I don't disagree. I completely agree with that. Like, I also hate it. What I don't agree with is people just hating on it. Like, it really, to me, isn't that bad. It's something different. I enjoyed it. So yeah, I disagree with that statement. It just isn't a good game mode. I disagree, personally speaking. And the other like really big complaint about the game mode is that it's overwhelming, which I kind of get. I do agree that there probably should have been a better tutorial system, or just should have been a real tutorial system for the game mode. But that being said, it's not a difficult game mode to figure out. Is that a hot take? Maybe. Apparently it is based off what the community thinks. But, I played the update. I played the game mode. I went into it not knowing anything, just like you guys. Played around for 10-15 minutes, interacted with stuff, figured out how the game would work. I'm not the brightest person. I'm sure everyone else can figure it out. So saying it was overwhelming is kind of confusing to me. Yeah, I'll just be honest. Like, I'm not trying to diss community here, but like, really, that's overwhelming. Like, yeah, sure, I get it. It's not like the most organized game mode, but it's not hard to figure out either. Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. That's my genuine opinion. So you know what? Sure, if people don't like that, if people always think that, okay, I disagree. Fundamentally speaking, it was not that hard to figure it out. Like, if you're calling it overwhelming, sure. I feel like that's probably more a reflection on yourself. I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy. It really was not that hard to figure out. There is a decent amount of stuff going on, but it's like not like enough to a point where like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, no, buddy, it's really not that hard to figure out, and that's frustrating because, like I said, I think it's good. Speaking, and for those of you who complain, it's a banner, a fucking gacha game. The fuck you think a gacha game's gonna be? Like, genuinely, tell me, well, what is a gacha game? There are banners. There's going to be a way to get the currency. You then go spin on the banner. Okay. Really? Like that's the argument we're using against this update? It's a banner? Sure. Just don't play the game. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's a gacha game. You're gonna have to grind for something. It's gonna give you a currency. Like, that is. I'm at a loss for people complaining about that personally. But I do think there are some valid criticisms with the next part. And that is going to be the portals. For those of you who don't know, there are two different types of portals you can get. Have your standard summer portals, and then your unit portals. You get the standard summer portals by talking to an NPC. The game mode, you can buy them from Escanor. He gives you one, and then you can beat him, and you start getting portals from there. And essentially, every single time you beat a portal, you get a capsule, which has various different drops from Evo items to Memorias, which is the issue. And you have a chance of getting a secret portal with, I think, a 5 portal pity. Like every 5 portals you beat, you'll just get one guaranteed. And that's because the secret portals have the chance of giving you the new Vanguard familiar. There's 7 of them, and some of them are much more common. Exclusive unit ones are much higher drop chance. You're pretty much gonna get one. And then there's the secret unit one for Marielona, or whatever her name is, from Black Clover. I butchered that. And Escanor one, I know it's a 1% sure chance, and I don't know about the secret one. Both of those have a pity, but the issue is the other ones don't have a pity, which you might not think is an issue, but the problem is all 5 of the exclusive units share the same drop rate percentage. So it's like you can get one and you'll be like, damn, it's a duplicate, and I could have gotten a different one instead. I think that's an issue. I think they should change that. I think that should just in general be different. I personally feel like if you're gonna do that, if you get the drop rate, which is the equivalent to an exclusive unit, whatever the exclusive unit or exclusive Vanguard familiar is, if you get that as I feel like you just be able to pick the exclusive Vanguard familiar you want. I don't think it should be super annoying task is getting it exclusive. You can make the argument where oh, but what if I get other if it's gonna take me 100 portals to get the Escanor one anyways, I don't want to get it. But it's I don't think that's fair. I think you should just be able to pick the Vanguard familiar you want if it's you get exclusive ones, because they all have the same drop rate. That's the way you fix it. I think the Escanor Memoria is 100 portals. I don't. That's an issue only because of the fact that you need to then get 100 secret portals, which is great. That is probably an issue, I will admit. So that isn't the best either, but overall I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it takes a hell of a long time. But the capsules, which you get from every single type of portal, have a 0.1% chance to give you a Memoria. You can either get the Memoria for Sukuna or for Escanor. The issue is these have a pity of 1500, and you get a max of 5 capsules, 10 if you get MVP, but that is essentially 300 portals, which is the equivalent to around 900 minutes for a Memoria. And I don't know because I haven't gotten to pity, but feel free if you let me know, or if you have gotten to pity. But I don't know if it's just you hit pity and it gives you one of the two. If that is the case, you should pick which Memoria you want to get. You're already hitting pity. You already spent 900 minutes doing this, if not more. That's an issue, I'll admit. I think the pity should probably be a third of what it is. I think 500 is probably okay. That's my opinion. That's a fair complaint. But then you have the unit portals, which are also time gated, because what happens is essentially you have 3 NPCs within the game mode, and they give you talk to them and you can buy their unit specific portal. And right now you can only buy the king one. Essentially how it works is, once again, you beat portals, they give you capsules, and you have a chance of getting a secret portal, which gives you this unit, of course. And the pity for that is 30. I don't know what the drop rate is, say, for just getting a secret portal generally, but 30 portals isn't too bad. Then that's about 90 minutes, an hour and a half. I don't think that's terrible, and you are guaranteed to get the unit. I don't think that's that big an issue. The problem is we have time-gated units with Shoko and Yoko, I believe, are the 2 names of the other units. But essentially, you go up to the NPCs in the game mode right now, and they'll tell you to come back in a few days to get their portal. And the community did do a survey, which they said yes to time-gated units, but I don't think that's fully fair. I'll admit to that. I don't think people knew what they meant when they said time-gated units fully. But that being said, I do think that's also a fair point. But the unit portals themselves, I'm okay with. Like I said, I think an hour and a half is not a terrible grind, and you're also still getting the capsules, which, like I said, do give you the Evo materials and other stuff like a lot of stat chips. So I'm not against it personally. So yeah, I mean that is the content of the update. I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. Like I said, I think the games are fun. I think the portals for the most part are fine. I think the pity for the Memoria should be reduced. I think that's a fair I think that's a fair ask, as well as the fact that I just think the general summer portals in general probably should be nerfed a little in terms of difficulty. They're hard, I'll admit. I have a pretty strong team, and I'm able to solve them, but just barely. Not barely, but like I said, the scaling is really high on them, and I can understand if people struggle. Like I said, that is my take anyway. But overall, I think the game was good, and I think the update's good. There are complaints with AV that, yeah, that's just a fault with AV. That is not a fault with the update. And they have been making changes. Like they changed kind of how Memorials works a little. You only get Evo of them, so it's like they're slowly working towards stuff. It's like they added a new like trial, like challenge trial. So it's like sure, challenging content, not really, but they rebalanced elemental towers. I think they're a little more challenging now. But it's like you cannot call this the worst update. We have Don to Don. We had fucking Sid. I will call Sid a terrible update. That might be a hot take. That was a terrible update. 5.5. We had Guilty Gear. I said that no. We had the Naruto update. We had AOT. I would say all those are worse than this update. And if you disagree, sure, that's your opinion. But personally speaking, this is not their worst update by far. And I think this is completely disrespectful to the devs by calling this their worst update. Personally speaking, if you want to say they're a little bit incompetent for amount of bugs, sure. But to call this their worst update is, like I said, I think that's disrespectful, and I just don't think it is. But like I said, that is my opinion. If you disagree, feel free to let me know. I would like to hear his opinions. I always do. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.